We're in California driving the new Subaru Solterra. It's Subaru's first pure electric vehicle.
We're starting here on the coast and we're driving inland to Palm Springs on one charge. Let's go. Oh, I hope I'm ready, Andrea. Whoa! All that torque.
Oh, wow. I mean, just so fast. Exactly what you would expect from any other EV.
Yeah, that's the beauty of EVs. All right, we're in Solterra, which is the Subaru version of a shared platform. More on that in just a moment. What's under the floor of this thing?
A 72.8 kilowatt hour battery with 360 kilometers, 228 miles of range. It has 215 horsepower and 249 pound-feet of torque. Standard all-wheel drive.
So this is a brand new electric model for Subaru. What do you get with the Solterra?
The Solterra comes with a heat pump, a 7-inch digital gauge cluster, an 8-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple Carplay and Android Auto, a 6-speaker audio system, heated cloth seats, manual front seats, leather-wrapped steering wheel, EyeSight driver assist technology, and Subaru Solterra Connect.
It's a Subaru, so it's got X mode. Well, what else can we put it in?
You got to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure you like and subscribe, but also follow on Instagram to find out what's going on behind the scenes. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's happening. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. So if you follow the car business, this is a co-developed vehicle with Toyota. They came out with the BZ or BZ4X, and this is the Subaru version called Solterra. We're going to answer the question, how do they differ, coming up in our hot topic. Right now, what do you think of the way it drives?
Well, I think that this handles really well. It has obviously a low center of gravity like all electric vehicles, but it's comfortable, it's smooth, the ride is refined, and the cabin is quiet.
We've been driving this for hours here through California on many different kinds of roads, twisty roads, uneven pavement, and we're going off-roading in just a second, so stick around for that. And you know what? The seats are comfortable. It's a very comfortable cabin. And all those points Andrea made are true for a lot of electric vehicles, but this ride quality is excellent.
And the steering even feels really great. This steering wheel has a nice feel to it. I think it's that it's not too big. Like, I'm just driving along and I'm thinking the maneuverability is great. The steering is precise. Subaru and Toyota have done a really good job with this.
Now, this is a shared platform with Toyota, and there's a common complaint about both, and that is the range isn't as strong as some other competitors, and it has a much slower charging time.
This is not going to be for everybody. If you are somebody who is going on a lot of road trips, has a long commute, and you're going to eat up more than this range, and you have to stop at a DC fast charger to charge up, I wouldn't recommend this vehicle. However, if you are someone who stays within this daily range and you use a level 2 charger each night, I actually think that this is a great option. When it comes to range, we're all worried about it with electric vehicles, but 90% of people charge at home, not on the road.
Yeah, people overbuy pickup trucks. They get the biggest, most powerful pickup truck for the one time a year they actually tow something. And people overbuy electric cars. They're buying way too big a battery for what they actually use. And once they've actually owned an electric car, they realize, you know what? It's charged almost 99% of the time when I wake up in the morning, and that's going to fulfill your needs. Subaru has us going to an off-road area in an electric car. It's true, so stick around for that. We want to let you know that this video is brought to you by Carmigo. So how would you like to be able to sell a vehicle easily within 24 hours and you set the minimum price?
With Carmigo, all you need to do is upload your car's details and pictures. It takes about 15 minutes, and then you set your minimum price. Then Carmigo collects offers from a nationwide network of buyers. Carmigo will collect $350 from you as a sell fee after your vehicle sells at the price you agreed to.
Click on the link in the description below. Go on there, check it out, and you can sign up and save $50. It's a great deal.
So both of us have never taken an EV off-road. Of course, we've been in the Forester and the Outback, but never an electric vehicle. We were on this off-road route with lots of ruts. It's pretty amazing. And if you told me that I was in an outback or a forest or wilderness, I would say, oh yeah, I am. But I wasn't. We were in an EV.
The ground clearance is only 10 millimeters lower than their traditional SUVs. It's usually 220 millimeters. This is 210, and it's got a perfectly flat floor. It's got no low-hanging fruit underneath like an exhaust pipe or a differential. And the other thing is that it has all of the aids you expect from a Subaru. So you've got X mode, which is their low-speed traction and stability program, and it also has the low-speed cruise control that you can utilize. And we kind of set it and drove down slowly. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and anytime you put on X mode, hill descent control comes on right away. And the 8.3 inches of ground clearance that this Solterra offers is plenty for what we went on. But I think most people will never go on a road like that, except for possibly a cottage road to the cabin.
It was pretty gnarly in spots, so congratulations. It did it, no problem.
Yeah.
By the way, if you got the Toyota, it could do it too.
Yes.
But you know what? Well done. All right, let's get into the way this looks. I think this looks better than the Toyota cousin.
Same. I like it better as well. It's the front and the back. I think that Subaru's done a really good job with this, and it kind of looks like something you would get in a Subaru with all of the cladding.
All right, from a distance though, the way the front looks with the blue oval, well, who else has a blue oval? Ford. It does have a bit of a Ford vibe to it, but you know what? I'll give it a pass. And because of the plastic cladding with this bluey gray color, I think it looks pretty smart. What's missing on the back, Andrea?
No wiper.
No wiper. No wiper.
This color is called Harbor Mist if you're interested in it. And the Solterra comes standard with LED headlights, LED rear combination lights. You can get a matte black hood or gloss black that you see on our test model. Comes standard with 18-inch wheels, available 20-inch. There are 2 new features available on the Solterra, and it's actually new to Subaru: safe exit and emergency driving stop system.
Yeah, so if the car is watching you and it can see you're not attentive and it thinks you've passed out, it can keep you in the lane and it'll bring you to a stop in the lane and put on the hazard lights.
Yeah.
I want to try it out, Andrea.
I said to Zach, if you're going to try it out, I'm just going to exit the car. I'm going to safely exit the car.
Okay, so this has what they call eyesight marketing.
Yeah.
It is not the traditional dual stereo cameras. This is a shared safety system that's used with Toyota. So it is the same kind of technology, but it's done differently.
Moving to the inside, like we said earlier, very comfortable driving position. The seats are extremely comfortable. And I think the layout in here is very good. One thing I don't like, there's just too much piano black in here for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what? We're doing all kinds of different things like off-roading, and now that we've been out for a big part of the day, there's lots of dust and fingerprints. It's a trend that we see in the auto industry. I don't love it. I do like, however, a couple of things. I like the fabric on the dash pad. That's something that we're seeing more and more in cars. I think that's a great feature. And I love the quasi head-up display behind the steering wheel. Andrea, not so much, but the seating position is fantastic.
This does not come with a glove box. However, there is a floating center console, so you've got storage underneath here, and also you've got storage pockets on the back of the seat if you wanted to put your insurance papers in there to hide them away. This is the first time Subaru is using a dial shifter. You know, it takes some getting used to. It's not something I see in Subaru vehicles, but over time, it's just become second nature. Let's get into the trims. In Canada, there are packages that you add to the base trim, and in the US, you actually have trims. So the way it works in Canada, the luxury package is equal to the limited trim in the US. They have the same features. They get the 12.3-inch touchscreen, a panoramic view monitor, a wireless charger, the 11-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, StarTex faux upholstery, a power driver's seat memory, heated rear seats, a heated steering wheel, and a power tailgate. You also get advanced park.
But that's not what we're in. We're in the top dog, and we're going to tell you the pricing in just a little while. It starts to get spendy. So what do you get with the top banana?
Well, the big features that you get in this trim, panoramic sunroof, as well as ventilated front seats. This also has a sunshade, which is nice if it gets bright.
And we've been using it today because unlike Canada, it's sunny and warm here. We've been enjoying it with this shut.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's a fixed panel roof. So on the outside, this is the same length as a Forester. It's the same height as an Outback, but the wheelbase is the same size as the Subaru Ascent. So it's got a very long wheelbase. Here's me getting in the back seat. It has a lot of legroom. However, the way the roof is cropped, for a taller person, not a huge amount of space, but you can do a neat thing. You can recline the seat backs to give you a little bit more headroom.
Comparing the Solterra to other competitors like the Kia EV6, Hyundai Ioniq 5, and Volkswagen ID4, the Solterra offers 42.1 inches of front row legroom, which is great. The EV6 has the most at 42.4 inches. Second row legroom falls short at 35.3 inches compared to these competitors. It's the Ioniq 5 that has the most at 39.4 inches.
When you lift up the cargo space at the back, and then you lift up the floor underneath that, there is no spare tire. However, there is a little storage space underneath.
Space behind the second row for the Subaru is 23.8 cubic feet, which is smaller than all these competitors. The ID4 has the most at 30.3 cubic feet. Overall cargo space for the Subaru comes in at 63.5 cubic feet, which is only a little bit less than the ID4 at 64.2 cubic feet.
Like a couple of boneheads, we forgot to get coffees.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Ready?
Your questions from Instagram.
I think the range is subpar for the price of this vehicle. The range is less than some of its competitors, equal to other competitors like the BZ4X, where it's based on the same platform.
Wait a second. It's got the same range as the Toyota? That's crazy, Andrea.
Isn't it? I mean, shocking. Price-wise, to be honest with you, it's very competitive. This is an all-wheel drive only model, so sometimes you are looking at pricing like a starting price. Let's say the BZ4X, it's a front wheel drive model. The Volkswagen ID4 is a rear wheel drive model. Once you get up to all wheel drive, they're pretty close.
And the other thing you got to remember is that for this brand, and also for Toyota, who co-developed it with Subaru, is their goal isn't just about everyday range, it's about long-term reliability. I'm sure they could get more out of this battery pack.
Yeah.
They don't want to tax it, and they want to have it last for a long, long time. So you always have to remember that there's something going on with this car, and it's about managing the battery over a long period of time.
Yeah, and Subaru's target is to retain 90% of the battery's capacity at the 10-year mark. Other manufacturers are coming in around 70-75% at the 8-year mark. One of the biggest problems is a DC fast charger, and every manufacturer will tell you to limit your time at them. Level 2 charging is better to save the battery. The gauge cluster on the Solterra seems awkward to view around or over the steering wheel. What are your impressions?
I love it. Andrea does not. This is what Andrea will say when we were driving here to do questions, coffee, and cars. Like, she just likes the seating position. It's fantastic. So this quasi head-up instrument cluster, I really like it. I liked it when we drove it in the Toyota version. I think it's great. And you know what? You can see the actual readout is at the very top.
Yes, so the screen, at the bottom of the screen, there's no information. But for me, the way I'm sitting in my seat, the top of the steering wheel falls just under all the information. And I don't know why, Andrea? But it bothers my eyes.
Problem solved. You just drive like this. Oh, I can see it perfectly now.
Could you imagine? Love the look. Wondering how the famous Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive feels and handles on an electric engine.
Well, that, my friends, is marketing. Symmetrical all-wheel drive has been a hallmark of Subaru, and the real way it was explained and designed is that the the output shafts from the differentials are equal length, and that's why it's called symmetrical. And you could argue that this has the same length shafts coming out of the electric motors to the two front wheels and the two rear wheels.
Yeah.
However, they're not connected at all front to back. It's all electronically controlled.
That's right.
So I guess anybody now could say they have a symmetrical all-wheel drive system.
Sure. Now, the BZ4X and the Solterra have the same all-wheel drive system, identical. You could argue that this system in an electric vehicle is even more precise than the symmetrical all-wheel drive system. In the end, they're both very good.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Having driven the BZ4X, of which the Solterra is based on, what has Subaru done to differentiate the driving feel from the BZ4X?
Well, the short answer is there is zero difference mechanically between these two. They're both made in the same factory.
Yeah.
This looks like a Subaru, that looks like a Toyota, but you know what? They were co-developed. Subaru claims that they worked on the all-wheel drive system as that is their area of expertise.
And really, it comes down to packaging, it comes down to exterior looks. Although similar, they do look a little bit different. So do you prefer Toyota? Do you prefer Subaru? Put it this way, you've got two vehicles that handle really well as an option. And you know what? Pricing is about the same on both of them as well.
You know what, Andrew? You know the one that I like? The one that I can get.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem is such limited availability of EVs in the marketplace. In light of high fuel prices, people are clamoring to save money on fuel. So, you know, Subaru obviously wants you to buy theirs and Toyota wants you to buy theirs. You're going to buy the one that comes in first.
One thing I'm not fond of in both models is that you're paying on that top trim over $60,000 Canadian. Yeah. And there is a manual passenger seat. Yes, there is a manual height adjustment. I just think at that price point, you should have a power passenger seat as well.
Now, some of you might be thinking, Zach, can that thing tow? Maybe not. We'll get into that and more in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The base trim is just over $54,000 in Canada, and the top technology trim is just under $63,000. In the US, the premium trim starts at just under $45,000, and the top touring trim is just under $52,000 US. The Solterra comes with a 6.6 kilowatt onboard charger with a 240 volt outlet. It will take about 11 hours to fully charge your Solterra. And with a DC fast charger reaching an 80% charge at a maximum charging speed of 100 kilowatt is 60 minutes.
In Canada, the Solterra qualifies for the federal EV rebate of $5,000 and any rebates in participating provinces. In the United States, this EV does not qualify for a tax credit. The Solterra is not rated for towing. Subaru offers a warranty of 3 years and 60,000 kilometers or 36,000 miles. So you want to buy a compact SUV/crossover that's electrified? What else can you buy?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Toyota BZ4X all-wheel drive. It has 214 horsepower with 367 kilometers, 228 miles of range. It has a starting price of just under $55,000.
The Hyundai Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive long range, 320 horsepower, 414 kilometers or 256 miles of range. It has a starting price at $55,000.
The Volkswagen ID4 all-wheel drive model has 295 horsepower and 410 kilometers, 255 miles of EV range. It has a starting price just under $53,000.
The Kia EV6 all-wheel drive with 320 horsepower, 454 kilometers or 282 miles of range. It has a starting price of $57,500.
So there are 4 electric vehicles for you to consider.
Lightning round. 2 things we like, 2 things we like to see improved.
I really like the comfort level of this Solterra.
I actually really like this head-up display.
What I'd like to see is faster charging capability.
And I want this shiny hard plastic replaced with something better.
What a day we've had with the Solterra. We spent 8 hours in and out filming, driving. We went from Dana Point to Palm Springs, and we have 140 kilometers, 87 miles of range left.
And the more we drove this, the more we came to appreciate the finer points, the suspension, the comfort. It's a great vehicle to drive for a long period of time. Well done, Subaru.